For the midweek preview for Canterbury this week, hot on the heels of a very controversial rant yesterday. I think Snowy said it was the best one he'd seen.
Oh, really?
He loved the Datsun story, which actually Walgie did point out that it had been done in the Punter Show before, and that did jog my memory.
Yeah.
But also, I think those two emails that the Roy Milky, which made it fairly obvious. In fact, we should probably send that straight to Volandis. And the Dave Potter Winks is boring, no romance in the game email. So
they were very good.
Yeah, look, it was a great show yesterday. Down to business here. It's Canterbury tomorrow. The rail's out 6 metres. Still trying to tell you that the track's wet, which seems hard to believe given the wind and the sunshine. So let's just forget about that. 6 metres can play either way. I'd rather be off the fence than on the fence, but it's sort of 60-40 there.
Mid to off, go forward.
Yeah, look, I think if you lead from wide draw, that's that's your golden stamp there at Canterbury. And like most of these programs, we kick off with 3 good races for the 3-year-olds, and then it gets harder as the program gets into the older horses. Race 1 is over $15.50 a 3-year-old maiden, $2.25 Runaway, $3.50 Gresham, $5 Almighty. Straight away 3 horses from some Saturday races. $10 Speedway, 17 Augustus, 19 Momentum to Win, 27 P Run, and 41 the Ruffy Lady Eleanor. Hieronymus, I don't know where he got to. It's J Parr back on board this Runaway, but he'll be seeking the front and should find it. Speedway will come across with him to try and look for a spot. Almighty should poke up, and you'd be surprised if Gresham gave away his inside draw up in distance too easily. I thought it was fairly straightforward, unless you want to say that one of these horses is better than the leader, Gordon.
I think number 3 is better than the leader, but I've got Tommy Berry, Barrier 1. I think that Assimilate and Dracarys is the superior form line. I know everybody has a bit of a rap on D'Argento, but I thought that Runaway got favours to get that close in that run.
Yeah, just so he's a horse that makes his own favours, that's the point.
Yeah, I don't like the fact that he went to Grafton the start before that and got beaten by a bush horse. I know the bush horse has raps on it, but...
4th run, first prep.
But if I'm going to take a short price, then it's not going to be with those circumstances, particularly because it's Hieronymus off or Parr on. And normally I'd have that closer, but at the moment Hieronymus is clearly riding better than Parr is. So for me, I'm going to go for my arch nemesis Tommy Berry and number 3 Gresham, but I think it's a 2-horse race. What about you?
Look, there's only one other horse I want to mention, which is Augustus, that has run at Warwick Farm over the 1100 twice and drawn Glyn Schofield Gate 1. That's not necessarily a problem, but both those tracks were against the inside. The most recent was resuming in his second preparation against Addictive Nature. He's trialled since. He gets Tim Clark here. Now, I know it's a sharp step up in distance, but he is a wild card in this race. But for me, what you see is what you get. Runaway will take some running down here.
I could be overthinking this.
Or you could be thinking it perfectly.
I think Gresham's the best horse, but I'm going to have to listen to you there as well. I'm confused yet again. But then, I mean, on Saturday I had it down to a 2-horse race, Brave Song and Addictive Nature, and we got beaten by
I think we got beaten by the track more than anything. That's just it's a pooey track, that Randwick track. Yeah. Race 2, a very good 3-year-old fillies race over 1250, and Funoon, scratched from Saturday, is $4. It's second pick. Regimen also scratched from that same race on Saturday, is $3.30 in favourite. $4.80 Colosimo, $6 Devolving, $6.50 Sebring Express, 13 Zazie Bar, and 67 the despised Ruffy Las Vegas. Now, it's not certain the map here, but I did think that Regimen would jump well and look for the lead here. Las Vegas is an alternative. Zazie Bar raced handy first up and won't give her gate away. Sebring Express is more of an off-pacer, but has drawn gate 1 and does have some pace. Colosimo chased the speed first up in a Saturday race as the blinkers on, so she could be right there. And Devolving has pace, but I would expect sort of tries to snag back and find a position behind those horses. This catch your eye, or
did catch my eye, but yet again with question marks. I've ended up finding a horse that has a couple of key negatives. As far as my pearls are concerned, that's number 1, Devolving. It's only
you can find a Ron Quinton horse. I mean, what generally happens is they have talent.
Yeah,
which is your talent radar is activated initially, isn't it?
Well, it's only had the 700-metre trials, but it did absolutely nothing wrong last preparation and did win quite convincingly Warwick Farm's second start, and I thought was unlucky first up. So this horse has done absolutely nothing wrong, and it's actually trialled better before this preparation than it did before last preparation. It's a couple of fairly decent ticks for me. I'm worried about the Pollitt angle at the moment, that they're a bit roly-poly at the moment. There's all eating and no exercise.
She's still 2-year-old. And it's also, you're better off with fillies because they're lighter frames, so they don't.
And I was actually very impressed with its last trial at Randwick over the 735. Did a few things that I look for that are a sign of a decent horse. But saying that, I had a second look at Colosimo because I thought it comes out of the Saturday race, which I think is going to be quite a high standard race. Sebring Express was running in the good stuff last preparation and did win first up this time in, and Regiment is the unknown one where I don't know how to put it or how to price it. So you help me out there.
No, and you haven't mentioned the highly touted, but albeit the death jump up from 1,000 Fanoon, who
it's gone ever since Florid flopped.
Florid flopped? Is that an accurate description of what Florid did?
Well, I backed it and it lost, so I could quite easily call that a flop.
Sounds very, very harsh and unforgiving. This is a fascinating race, isn't it? So look, you've made the case for number 1, and that is a perfect illustration of where she sits. Regimen, when I watched the replay of Regimen, I went, wow, that is a horse that I want to be on next start. Yeah. So she was my first port of call here, and I'm particularly hoping that he's positive on her, aggressive on her, and she takes it up. But that's certainly in question. Colosimo, well, I mean, she's been primed for this. It's second up, blinkers back on. We're not sure about Bishin at the moment, but it would appear that it's almost a setup there for Colosimo. Sebring Express, I thought, went well first up at Gosford, but Bishin, who rode the favourite and leader, sort of mucked it up a bit, and Sebring Express got a bit lucky there. Fanoon, I mentioned her death jump, and Zanzibar, well, Las Vegas is the line there with Regiment and Zanzibar, and she's just got way too close to Zanzibar there at Wyong to seriously consider Zanzibar. Really interesting.
First 2 races are quite interesting, aren't they?
Yeah, very exciting. Look, I wanted to find Colosimo in race 2, and I couldn't get near her market price. That's, I guess what I'm saying is that my intention counts for something.
Well, if there's anything to it, I tried the same thing and then went for weird stuff.
Well, no, you went for a horse that goes good. Does it have the rider, the stable, and the...
No.
Yeah, anyway. It doesn't, it doesn't always matter. And particularly if this horse is quietly ridden in this race, it could actually work here. Race 3, again over 1,250, this time a 3-year-old maiden. And $2.40 is the highly touted scratch from Kembla last Saturday's Smart Edge. $3 Gold Standard, who comes from the Addictive Nature race. $10 Mera V, who was going to cure cancer last preparation, but found an inside draw at Newcastle at a city meeting first debut. Of course, he's by Frankel out of More Strawberries, so it's got one of those flashing light pedigrees that certainly attracted a lot of attention on debut, but he's out to $10 here, first up in his second preparation. And no question of gelding him either at this stage.
That's definitely an interesting runner in that race. Yeah.
$12 Absolute, back in distance from his first start. $12 Smooth Landing, $17 Byzantium, and $18 Wild About Her, who is a half, unfortunately a big brown half, to our gay runner on Saturday a long time ago. Well, I did think that this would see Gold Standard springing to the front here. 1,250 Gay Trains, T. Clark rides, drawn second from the outside. Seems a no-brainer. The only other runner I had with pace in the race is All Day, who didn't show that much pace first up. Certainly Smart Edge has talent, so can be there, but won't be contesting the lead with Gold Standard, I wouldn't think. Perhaps Merivee could be ridden with some urgency, given that he had a problem with the inside draw on debut, but it would seem that Gold Standard would take it up here, Gord.
Surprising that a horse that starts its career at Newcastle, doesn't win, and comes into this race so short. It's the horse that I want to back, number 7, Smart Edge. I missed an opportunity on Saturday with Super X.
Yeah, in Unum.
The horse that was smashed by D'Argento and Smart Edge come out and win quite nicely
at Kembla.
All the form around this horse is absolutely sensational, and it still might be a better horse than D'Argento, maybe. Should be winning this race.
Right, so what about number 4, who really did a good job there? Had to try and shuffle, try and shunt his way off the inside there to get a challenging position.
It was when Avdallah was choking as well, so I'm giving this a positive jockey change. I love what you said there, that it leads, because I think it's going to be far more comfortable in the lead, particularly when you saw the way it raced its last start. Big ticks, sort of spewing they're both in the same race, but...
Yeah, you want to, what do you want to split the aces?
Oh, I'm just going to back 7. Yeah, it'd be splitting 10s would be the crazy thing as far as blackjack's concerned. Yeah, no, 7 on top. Had a look at all the trials of the other ones and admit that it seems like there's some horses in this race that might have a little bit of ability, but I think this one might be just that little bit above the rest.
Yeah, look, I'd say you've got the Gay racing style versus the Snowden pure talent. Well, I wasn't particularly. Number 1 raced against the older horses first start at Wyong and was just fair, coming back in distance. All Day was a bit ordinary in a decent provincial race. Byzantium just moseyed home, has trialled since. I would think more ground even. Merivee we've pretty much spoken of because he's got that pedigree of pedigrees.
If they've educated this, I'll make another mention. Watch the replays of Smart Edge. Man, it carries on like an absolute pork chop. It's had 21 days off. I reckon they've probably done a lot of work on sort of educating this horse a little bit more, and I don't mind the fact that it's got a strong, cute rider and Blake Shin on it. I'd say from the runs last start, the way Smart Edge raced cost it the victory, and that was against a horse that has since come out into Saturday grade and won. Yep. I'm getting more and more confident about it.
Okay, now we're into the cup of tea, have some lunch or afternoon tea race for you, Gordo. 1900, benchmark 70, and the market reads $2.60 Chatillard.
I've got to admit to you, I tried. You know how recently I've just been like, I'm not even looking at it. I'm just waiting for you to talk, and then I'm just reading the form while you're talking.
Oh, right.
I've actually had a look at this race, so there you go.
Well, you're probably excited after you got through 3 races.
Well, I probably did the first 3 races and thought, oh, this is quite juicy. I'm looking forward to this program. Got me a little bit excited, so I decided to do the distance race.
Yeah, well, we've got Chatillard $2.60, $5 more than Fabulous, who is 2 from 3 this course and distance. $6.50 Quick Defence, $8 Marmon, $10 Brogue, $13 La Brook, backing up from Thursday Hawkesbury, and $21 heads the remainder. Now, we are, well, we've got Token of Love, who has been kept fresh, was kept fresh into the 1750, kept fresh again up to the 1900. She's there. Brogue is there, and good old Tradtree would like to lead. So one of those 3 horses will lead. More Than Fabulous posied up the other day, and I think will be not too far away, not ridden aggressively, but not too far away. Quick Defence is looking for a position behind the speed. Tap That is not too far away. And 0 to 10 is the wild card, ridden off the speed at Kembla last time under instructions, but generally goes forward. So there could be a little bit of pressure here. Marmon was ridden in the 101 back position, which may have been too far forward for him. He'll just sit back on the inside. And Chatillard raced handy at his sharp distance jump last time. Look, I guess he doesn't give anything away, but may find himself in the last few, despite that. All right, so you had a look. Did you see anything?
And the number one reason I had a look was I saw short price favourite H. Bowman to Tom Berry and a horse that's not going to take the race by the scruff of the neck. So I thought I could find something outside the market here, and I didn't.
Right.
The one
Were you tempted?
the one that I want to see tactic change on is number 1, Tap That. This horse has done nothing since it's got to Australia. Why not try something different? Whip the fucking thing out of the barriers, go to the front and see what happens.
He's kind to his horses, Johnny. Gordo. He doesn't, you know, John Thompson, he's not, that's not his style.
You got to try something. They obviously paid a bit of money for this horse.
I think did it go to Weir and then now it either went to Weir or Hayes and now it's with John Thompson.
It's completely flopped. Try something different. Ride the shit out of it, go to the front and see if it can do what it... Because if it gets back to its Japan stuff, it wins this race.
Right, yeah, Gordo's...
But it's 20 to 1, like, you know. Just,
Gordo's doing the Japan tapes. It's funny, I saw this race and I saw More Than Fabulous and I went, ooh, Canterbury. Because the last time he was Canterbury 1900 was exactly a year ago, 27th of July 2016, where Bowman won easily on him and prior to that, Shin had won easily on him 2 starts before that. It was like this was his go-to place. He's actually coming off... He's on an 11-day backup from a Saturday race where he took up a position. He'll relish the extra 9.5 kilos. That'll really make him happy. And he seemed an interesting horse. But then again, it's More Than Fabulous. What am I thinking? Chatillard, I have to say, is the top pick, which is just it's a bit of a risk here. It just, you know, Bowman threw everything into it at it the other day and things worked nicely in a race that doesn't look that great. But having said that, I want to suggest that Marmon can do a lot better out of that race. Nick Haywood to Tim Clark had the 1900 metre run, had 2 1900 metre runs last preparation at Canterbury. One of them he won, the other he ran in behind Admiral Jello. So I think that Marmon will improve sharply tomorrow. And Token of Love is a mare that I know she just went back to Acton to win there last time.
Thank your little cotton socks.
She wasn't ready to do anything at Canterbury the start before that, but her runs the last preparation when she did a good job with this rider to beat up Fortensky, and then she ran against Obsidian, who was in dazzling form at the time, and then she held on bravely behind Sizzling Bullet. I can see her running better than her
One of the few
here.
horses with decent winning stats too. You know, all the others are the, well, except for the lightly racing, of course.
Yeah, look,
For me, it's like Chatillard. I don't want to back Chatillard. I want to try and find something, but I don't want to be taking that 4 to 1, 5 to 1 range for something to beat it. I'm looking for.
Yeah, you're looking for.
I'm maybe just.
Well,
distance.
You've got to come
confused.
up. You've got to come up with something. So you've suggested that the 20 to 1 bracket is the way to approach the race. Given the positioning of the favourite, like it's unbeaten the favourite.
Yeah.
But there's just something, you know, something about it that seems highly vulnerable tomorrow. So we'll call it in on part 1 there and come back with the last 3 from Canterbury.